Welcome to an introduction to the GIMP, a free and open source photo editing application. I've been using it for years, and I must have edited tens of thousands of photos over the past few years with the GIMP. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a Photoshop type application. And the great thing is that it's free and open source and runs on multiple operating systems. So I have the interface open right now. I just want to give you guys a short introduction to the GIMP so that you can see where everything is and get around the interface so that you can start using it right away. So let's go up to File and let's go up to Open and open an image. Okay, so we've got the image opened up. And we can see at the top it gives you the name, it gives you the size of the image. It's 1920 by 1080 in size on the image. You can see that I've got a ruler along the top and a ruler along the side, and I have my unit measure in pixels, which is what I typically work in when I'm working on a photo. Unless I'm editing one for print, then I typically work in inches. So if I switch that to inches, you can see that the ruler at the top and on the side have changed to inch measurement now rather than pixels. We'll change that back to pixels. All right, so you see this little blue eye up here. It's basically a zoom tool. So in order to zoom your image to fit in, to maximize inside the viewport here, just click that, and that will maximize the image inside your viewport. Your interface may not look exactly like mine because I've customized mine a bit to match my workflow. So you may not have your layers dialog opened up over here. You'll see over here on the right, I've got several different tabs. One of them that I have highlighted right now is my layers dialog. And over here you'll see different tool options depending on which tool you have selected. And you'll see all these colored icons up here that I have. Those are all different types of tools. You have selection tools, and you have select by color. You have a crop tool, a transform tool. You've got a font tool so that you can actually create text within your image. You've got a heal and a clone tool, different types of brushes, pencil, airbrush. You've got a zoom tool, you've got a color picker. So there's all kinds of different tools within GIMP, and I'll be creating additional tutorial videos on down the road, and we'll go over every single tool that you see up here. And the next video I'll be publishing will show you how to customize yours so that you'll see, you'll be able to add the tools that you want up here in your toolbox. I think I have just about every tool available shown in my toolbox. By default, I don't think it comes up with all the tools listed. But you'll see down here, once you select a tool, you'll see all the options available for each individual tool. If your layers dialog is not open, then if you go up here to Window, Dockable Dialogs, and then select Layers, that will load up your layers dialog. Chances are that it will be listed over here on the left as an additional tab. But if you just grab the tab, like if I want to grab my paintbrush here and drag it over here, so now my paintbrush dialog is over here. So if your layers dialog opens up over here in the left hand dialog dock, you can just grab the tab and pull it over there and have it either to the right or to the left. Maybe you want all of yours over to the left. This is just the way I have mine set up because it matches my workflow. But when we go over customizing the interface, you'll be able to set it up how you want to do it for your workflow. So you see the tab at the top shows the current active image. So if we load up another image, and then we'll go ahead and select this little zoom tool, and we'll maximize that. Now you see two tabs at the top, and the one that has the little X showing on it, so that you can close the image if you want to, but it shows you that's the active image right now. If I select this tab over here, now the first image I had loaded is now active. and go back to the second image. And then if I want to close that image, I just select that little X square there next to the little tiny icon of the image. Okay, so one of the things you'll use frequently is your middle mouse button to pan the image around. You know, if you zoom your image in to work on part of the image, if you hold down your center button, you'll see that the cursor turns into a hand, and then just hold down the mouse button and you'll be able to scroll the image around, pan it around to get to the area of the image that you're wanting to work on, or you can use the scroll bars right here. So down here where you have the measurement, which I have selected as pixels, you also have the percentage zoom on the image. And right now I'm at 550% zoom on the image. So it's showing the image 550% larger than the actual image. So if I go back over here and I select 100%, there's 100% of the image showing. But as you can see, it's not all fitting inside our viewport. So if I go back and I select 50%, okay, so now it's smaller than my viewport. So I'll go back up here and select this little zoom tool again. So if the image is fit perfectly within my viewport, that's the way I like to have my images, you know, presented to me. So that's just a way for you to maximize the view of the image within the viewport so that you can see the entire image, see what parts you're going to need to work on. So if you go over to this little arrow here at the top left hand corner of your image viewport and you click that, you have the entire file menu that you have along your menu bar at the top. You now have available right here where you're at the top of your viewport. The one that I like, that I find most convenient, is if you just right click anywhere on the interface. Right click anywhere on the interface and you get the exact same menu that you have up here at the top. So instead of having to travel back up to the top of the window to select whatever you're wanting to select from your menu, you just right click anywhere on the interface within the image viewport, and that dialog will come up. Very, very handy, and it's a huge time saver. There's a couple of, I try to get everybody, I think the best thing to do is to learn your menu system, your menu bar first, but there are a couple of keyboard shortcuts that are going to be indispensable for you when you're working on your image. So if you just remember two of them, Control S will save your image. If you look right here where it says save from the file menu, it's Control S. If you learn Control S on the keyboard, hold down Control and press S, and that will save your image. Once I get a certain process completed on the image, I always save it before I go on to the next process that I'm going to complete on the image, so I don't lose any work. The other one that you want to learn, the other keyboard shortcut you want to learn right away, which will be very beneficial in speed, is Control Z. And what Control Z will do is it will undo the last operation that you performed. So let's say I go over here and I crop the image. So I've got my crop tool selected. I'm going to left click and pull out my crop tool. I'm going to click in the middle and now I've cropped that image. And I didn't want to do, let's say I didn't want to do that. So I hit Control Z and that undoes the last operation that I performed. So if you make a mistake, Control Z. If you're at a point where you need to save your work, Control S. If you go up here to File, or you go to Edit and go to Undo. You see Undo at the top? It's grayed out now because I've already undone the last operation I performed. But it would be right here under Edit. If you needed to undo, it's right there at the top, and you can see the keyboard shortcut for it is Control Z. Okay, so this is the basics of the interface within GIMP. There are also guides here if you need a guide for alignment. If you left click on the top ruler and pull it down, you'll see a guideline come over. If you do the same thing from the left-hand side, you'll see a guide come over there. So if you need to align it somewhere in the image with another component, you can use those guides to do that. And then to remove the guides, just hover over it. You'll see it turn red. Left click on it and then just drag it back off of the window. Same thing with the other guide. Okay, and that gets rid of the guides for you. Okay, so that should give you a basic understanding of the interface in GIMP. We've gone over the image window, opening and saving an image, how to zoom in on an image, how to fit it to your image window, where the tools are located, 3 different ways that you can get to the menu system, being able to use guides, changing your zoom level on your image, how to change your units of measure to whatever you prefer to work in, how to open and move your tool dialogues like layers and channels and paths and gradients, the tool options where the tools are located. So I think that'll give you a basic understanding of the interface in GIMP. In the next tutorial, we'll go over how to customize the interface so that you can set it up different ways, see which way works best for you. Define what your default units of measure are. I'll show you how to set up a template, because I typically use the same size images the vast majority of the time. So I have mine set up for a default size of image to begin with, so that when I create a new image, the new image is created at the same dimensions of the images that I'm working with, so that I can makes it easier to do it that way, to make composites of images. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll go over how to customize the interface for your own needs, and then I'll be producing tutorials on all the different tools and all the different dialogues and what they're for and how you can use them. So stay tuned for that. So remember, you can create freely, and I will see you in the next episode.